Hi, I'm Neville Marten from Guitarist magazine.
And I'm Richard Barrett.
Today we're looking at Orange's brand new all-valve head called the OR30. It's an interesting thing because it's voiced to be a bit of a 70s, not throwback, because it's got a very modernised version of that kind of sound, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of modern features and everything. What I like about Orange is that it's the same guy designing them and they're still making them, and it's not like a sort of nostalgic throwback in any way, is it really?
Exactly, and Adrian Emsley is a great designer. We've said it many times. He's got great ears. Yeah. He's really got great ears, and Orange amps always sound really fantastic. They are saying, without overly boasting about it, it's possibly the loudest 30-watt amp.
It's not too hard to believe. I mean, we've had a play, haven't we?
We have, we have. We've got them on. There's two power settings. There's headroom and bedroom, which we really like. Bedroom is 2 watts. Headroom is the full 30 and plus, actually.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we've got ours both set on the headroom, haven't we? I mean, we've got the master volume set pretty low. Yeah. Because otherwise we would be deaf at the end of this. We
would. We were playing louder earlier on. We realised we'd gone a bit mad, so we've brought it down to more conservative levels. They still are singing away, though, aren't they?
Still singing away, and there's plenty of thump. I mean, especially from the 4x12, but this is great as well. This has got the cream backs in it, this cab.
Yes.
And they're sort of slightly offset, but it's upright. I think it's the first one they've ever done.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got those, but the heads are the same basically, but we've got them set to suit.
Yeah, we've got two identical heads. I'm actually playing through that one over there. Rich is through this one here, and we'll use this one to demo the controls and how they sound and everything like that. We've set them at a quite dirty full headroom, full maximum volume sound, but they clean up-ish when you turn them down, don't they?
I think, yeah, it depends how you've got them. I mean, I suppose, in the broadest terms, the louder you've got the thing, probably the less dirt you'd need for it to have that sort of compression and sustain or whatever.
Exactly.
And then it would probably respond more. But I've got mine set, about 2 o'clock on the gain control, which is this one at the end with the wobbly line. What you got there? Yeah, just a little bit more in respect of the single coils, just to give it. Though that's a great sounding Strat, I have to say.
Thank you. It's all in the fingers, you know.
Oh yeah, well that'd be it. Beg your pardon. Yeah.
Right. Orange do the graphic thing.
Yes.
They don't say treble, middle, and bass. They have symbols for it. And once you know the key, it's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, shall I talk through these?
Talk through it,
closest to me here with the fist motif, no, that's the right word, that's the presence. It's very effective actually. Why don't I show you how I've got it set? I've tried to go as much with flat EQ as possible. I think that's always quite a good place to start, isn't it, really? And
definitely.
Just not be showing anything like monstrously scooped. But I've just ended up boosting the top end to give these humbuckers a little bit more definition. So yeah, here is what I've got. I'm experiencing, as the guy playing the sound, it's got a satisfying sort of squelch to it, but it's got loads of definition.
It's got squelch and it's got thud and it's got definition, and it doesn't lose the fundamental sound of the guitar.
No, absolutely not.
Which when you stick a load of drive on, it can do it, which don't do.
I'll quite often play with the guitar on halfway. I've even got a little bit of triangular tape stuck there so I can see it.
By comparison, I've got the Strat going through an amp, similar ballpark settings, but tweaked to kind of read this a bit better. I'll do kind of similar kind of thing. You can hear that already is much brighter.
But you've got the tone control wide open, haven't you?
It's white, yeah.
And it's still, I can hear that it's a Strat. I can hear twang of it, but it's not hurting, and I'm right next to it.
If I back I've got a tone control on my bridge pickup, so if I back it off a bit from to,
that's not too bright for anyone.
no, it's not.
Really
even wide open, it's nice. If you were layering, say we were doing something in the studio, you play some open G and Ds on that, and I overlaid this over the top. So,
yeah.
It does a lovely thing together, doesn't it?
It does, actually, yeah. The sounds blend really well. And there we go, I'm getting carried away because I was going to talk through the controls, wasn't I? I suppose I should do that. So that's the presence there. And I'll just demonstrate, I'll sweep it a bit. Obviously, I've had a play with the EQ, left it fairly flat, but just tried to trim it a little bit to suit the guitar. If I just take it off, I mean, there's always going to be the guitar or the situation where that's useful. Sat here right now, I'm not feeling that is the time. And then if I just go a little bit more, it really does kind of step a little bit. You can really hear that at about 5. I think that it's difficult sometimes when you've got a control and you just demonstrate it from 0 to 10, because there's only going to be so much of the sweep that's actually really what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it when you had it about 2 o'clock there. It gave a bit of an edge to the.
Yeah, I can hear that snarl and snap.
Snarl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it there in that case. And that's good to know. And this next control is the foot volume, apparently. Well, the reason it's called that is because it's foot switchable, and this is the master volume, one along from there, but you can foot switch from the back and just have a completely separate master volume. So it's got a built-in boost, which is pretty useful, isn't it? I mean, I think certainly if you're playing backline only in a club, or a sound man that doesn't know your stuff that well, I generally always use a little bit of boost anyway. Even
it's nice to boost, but not necessarily change your tone.
Yes.
Because sometimes you want to change the tone for your solo. Sometimes I like this tone, I just want this tone a bit more. Yeah. To cut through a bit more.
I think that there's more than enough gain for a lead tone, and I'm happy to control it from the guitar, really.
Yeah, we've been doing that all day long, you're turning it down. We were doing a thing before, weren't we, where we were saying, when you turn down, say, that's my 10 sound. If I turn that down to about... There's still a bit of edge on there.
I'm a big fan of tones like that.
Yeah.
You don't always realise that there's any dirt on them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
sometimes that's nicer than absolute sparkling clean, isn't it?
I think so, and I can't remember if I've said this before, but I think it's what engineers are talking about when they talk about tape saturation and things like that, where things just sound a bit better.
Well, interesting, talking about tape saturation, these have got valve rectification, which gives you that sag thing,
Right.
which you often talk about on vintage amps, you know, amps from the 70s. I remember playing with a 50-watt amp of another British persuasion in a pub, and it sounded amazing, and the dynamics in it were great, and you can hear the dynamics in this, can't you?
Actually, you're right. Yeah, I reckon that must be quite an ingredient, because it has got that slight squelch.
Yeah.
That I can feel it when I'm digging in, and it's flattering.
It
Not
is.
getting transient nastiness. I can
It does a bit of dynamics for you, doesn't
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get that kind of snappy attack that isn't a good thing.
No, they call it sag. The big headroom American amps don't really have that sag, do they? They've got a ping. They almost spring out even harder.
Yeah, you end up with solos jumping out, or notes from a solo jumping out,
which a certain type of player really loves. I mean, you know, a lot of our players, friend players, love that sound.
Yeah.
I like this Britishy, saggy, darker edge sound.
Me too.
Because it hides the rubbish of my playing.
Yeah, well, I don't agree about you, but I certainly agree on my own behalf.
Anyway,
but,
so moving on.
So we've got the 2 volumes, One's foot switchable. The foot switch doesn't come with it, but
No.
it's a generic foot switch and a jack lead. Next we have treble, which I've got slightly up as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you an idea of where that's voiced. You'll really hear the mids coming out, don't you?
Yeah.
And then if I go sort of flat or halfway, I mean, it's not really flat, is it? And they're not active controls. I think that between the presence and the treble and the brightness switch that we'll get onto in a bit, there's a lot of variance.
It's subtle, isn't it? And
Yeah.
it takes you from, I don't know, if you think of Les Pauls, if you think of Thin Lizzy Les Paul sound,
Yes,
it's a different Les Paul to Paul Kossoff Les Paul sound.
Yeah.
And I think you could tune those, bearing that you're playing an LP type of guitar.
Yes,
you can tune those different sounds in, I think, using that.
Yeah.
And the punk Les Paul sound.
Absolutely,
if you think of
I
Old
reckon
Jonesy
you could bring
from the Pistols and
mids
stuff.
up. In fact, I'll just show what the treble's like a bit sort of more wide open, and I think we should check that out and see.
Yeah.
So that's a treble up about sort of 3 o'clock. Really hearing that.
That's the kind of 2468 motorway, isn't it?
Yeah. Trying to get that vibrato.
More of a punky kind of sound.
I mean, if I bring that back slightly, but wind up the mids, which you can see has got its own cymbal on there, I've gone for 3/4 of the way up.
Yeah.
Just to hear what it's like right up. And then off. That's just a good way of zoning in on, right, what exactly is this doing?
Yeah.
Mind you, that, I think I've knocked the master volume by accident. So I think that that's really expertly voiced.
It
Quite
is.
often mids can be a bit like, I guess it'll sound all right in a mix.
Yeah,
It probably does. But
Yeah, it does. You could almost tune your whole guitar sound with that tone, that can control on its own, couldn't you?
yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
lovely-
agree.
it's
That's got a
very
lovely character to it. I
powerful.
wouldn't want to guess what frequency it was at, but it's a good choice.
Yeah.
So it's just a great choice of frequency and a great sweep on it as well. Easy to move it around and find a nice spot for each guitar if necessary, I think.
And sometimes the more extreme settings that don't sound great on one guitar might sound brilliant on another guitar.
Yeah.
If you want to accentuate, say, the brightness of a Strat or a Tele, that might be exactly what you want to do. Or you can make a Tele or a Strat darker.
Yeah,
by
I'm
doing
feeling that really
if you wanted
fills
to,
out the sound in a great way.
Yeah.
I reckon if you had a Strat, and I've had Strats like this where you just need a little bit more
Yeah,
in the middle.
Yeah, we've set both the amps so that they complement the guitars that we've got. I'm going to switch to a Les Paul shortly, and Richard will switch to a 3 single coil guitar. So we can show the difference in sounds.
Yeah. And then we've got the bass, which is set pretty much in the middle. I mean, it suits this 2x12. I think got it trimmed back slightly on the 4x12, just because in the room here it was getting a bit rumbly. But it's hard to know how much that's going to come across to the viewers, but I'm definitely getting more thump.
I can hear it. And if you were to scoop a bit of the middle out there, tune that bottom string down.
Yes.
Yeah, it's monster.
Yeah, that'd fill a room.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, no problem
Remember
at all.
to tune it back up again.
I will, I'll do. See how that goes. And I'll put that mid back on before I forget. And then you could take the bass off. I know there's talk of Jimmy Page used to run the bass on zero on his stuff, didn't he? Well, it's a valid sound.
It is totally. I mean, Jimmy, as a producer with producer's ears, he might think, well, there's already enough bass in this track. My guitar doesn't need to have that much bass.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, in fact, that's pretty damn close.
Yeah. I've just taken a bit of gain off on the guitar because it responds really well to that. Trying to stay this side of copyright.
Exactly.
There'll be new laws.
Yeah. So, you know, as you can hear, you could easily say it's a one sound amp because it does set out to do a thing, but the amount that you can tailor that
it's what you do
brilliant sound. If the sound is in the room, that is fantastic.
I mean,
the amount that you can tailor it
and the gain control will be more, won't it? I mean, if I would bring that back to about 3, that's with the guitar wide open. I mean, I'm thinking that I'll lose a bit of treble. I mean, that is getting a little bit more edgy. I'm hearing more of the punk sound start to come into the picture if I just push that up to about half. If I'd gone to G, I'd be in court, you see. But from where I'm sat, and obviously it's going to sound different wherever you are, I'm happy with that. That's got the chunk as well.
It has.
So that's changing the tone as well. And I suppose there's nothing wrong with saying, well, set this up for one kind of sound, a couple of different boosts.
Every day of the week. That's how it's done these days, isn't it? You get your basic sound. I mean, in the studio, I would possibly tend to try and not use the pedals. And I try and use the source rather than meddle with the source, which you do in a live situation.
Yes. Yeah, which is sort of a compromise of sorts, I always think. Yeah,
and it's a more really vintage way of doing things. These are supposed to be voiced for a 70s kind of sound. Interestingly, this cab, I think, are these the Creamback Neos?
They're the Creambacks, yeah, that's right.
Neos.
They are.
So that cab, although it's a big chunky old thing, nothing like as chunky as that 4x12 because that's a monster.
Oh yeah,
very deep as well.
You need a friendly weightlifter.
This wouldn't be too hard to lug around.
No, they're super light, aren't they?
Car friendly as well.
And it's open back too. I mean, I'm a fan of 4x12s, don't get me wrong, but there's the sort of ease of use, ease of carrying, and the fact that there's a spread of sound that makes me a fan.
Exactly. So we're coming to this now.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking, well, I might just go back closer to where I was and just cool. Add a bit of treble back in, and that's what this controller's all about. Actually, it's 3 positions. So in the middle there, it's not doing anything. It's neutral. You can, from what I've read and what I've heard, or what we both had playing with these, it's 2 different flavours of treble boost, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Interesting. Because I've got the brighter guitar, my boost is on the.
It's on the higher sort of.
It's on
the lower setting.
It's on the lower. So I'm getting a more fruity tone added to the amp, and you're taking some of that away, aren't you?
Yes. Well, this is nothing at all. And what I had it on was a kind of wide band treble boost. And then to the left is a thinner band treble boost. So it's still in there, but I'm guessing that if you were looking at this like a EQ on a digital workstation, you know, you'd see the wider boost.
Yeah.
On the... That's going down into high mids as well.
Out of interest, do the same thing on this, just so that they can hear what the Strat sounds like.
Right, so at the moment, I'll turn that off.
Okay, so that's right.
Great, now I'll go on to the narrow boost. Great, I'll go on to the wide boost.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just really well chosen the way that they've done it.
Yeah.
None of that, you know, was a sound or I'm thinking, oh, well, I suppose it might work with another guitar. It will work great with that one.
It did, definitely, yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. I mean, that's not foot switchable, is it? I don't think so.
No, that isn't foot switchable. The second volume is foot switchable.
And a valve-driven effects loop.
Yeah, so it's 3 12 AX7s running the central preamp.
Yeah.
4 EL84s as the power amp.
Yes.
And then the rectifier is...
Was that the 5AR4 or GZ34?
That is the one. And that's the thing that gives you that lovely dynamic sag thing.
A sweet spot, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Yeah. So in terms of being able to lift that up with one finger, no hope, I'm sorry.
No, but I think that's a positive because I had a peek in the back, those transformers, well.
Massive.
Yeah,
massive.
And a choke as well, you know, just it's high quality.
They don't stint, and these are made in the UK.
Yeah.
They're British made amps, they're not farmed out somewhere else. And this retails UK price $16.99.
Yes. So I had a little look around, and there's a couple of places that appear to be doing it.
$14.99, yeah, something like that. I've seen that, and that is a pretty good price for an awful lot of amps.
When you think about what you're getting, that's boutique quality, really.
Yeah,
I don't think that's an exaggeration, is it?
It's not. I mean, I imagine in America they'd be a bit more because of the exchange rate and the fact they're coming from the UK, as indeed American amps are more expensive here than they are in the States for the same reason. But that is a darn sight cheaper, should I say, valuesome than some of those other boutique things.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're great amps and everything, but this is really, and there's a certain approach to this as well that I think will appeal to a certain type of player. I know I'm quite into the controlling with the volume control. It doesn't always happen in professional life, end up with patches, whatever,
exactly.
But I do quite like the simplicity of plugging into an amp and knowing that that's it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we could go on talking about essentially what we've been talking about, but I think we've probably exhausted. This rig with the neodymium speaker, tuba 12 open back, is going to be manageable enough. That is heavy, but it's manageable. That is very manageable for a small cab. Yeah. The big 4x12 there, you're going to need 2 people to carry that. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And you'll need a big old trunk boot van to get it in, and you'd probably need a roadie to set it up for you.
We think with stuff like that, you'd probably want it flight cased and just rolled into the back with all the other stuff.
You never see it till you walk on stage with your glass of champagne.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's not a great deal more we can say other than you can tell we both absolutely love them.
I mean, I'm a fan of. I've liked every single one that we've played, and this is particularly. This is. I really like this rig.
Yeah.
Because of the way it handles the low end and the open back. I like the fact that there's an effects loop, because though I do love the traditional, I do come from a time when people had
playing live,
digital delays.
Playing live, you're going to want to use it in a different way.
Yeah.
And this EL84 kind of amp is a lovely platform for pedals.
Oh yes,
it really is. It's because it's sweet. They're sweet sounding amps. They're chimey amps. That's a word that's often used to describe them, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have a chime about them.
There's a certain voice to it, the sort of upper mids and the treble.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that you can refine that between the presence, the treble and that 3-position switch. I really think that the real heart of any guitar sound is probably there, isn't it? As well as the mids, of course, but the way it cuts through.
Definitely. Obviously, we love them in orange because the name is Orange.
Because it's orange,
and why wouldn't it be? But sometimes you might want to be bit less flamboyant than that, so it does also come in black if you'd
I mean, in
rather.
practical terms, I know that some lighting guys don't want any sort of noticeable colour on stage. They want utter blackout. I turned up in a white shirt once and I was sent to change.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But we like that in orange, actually. It's a nice statement. If it's your band, go orange. If it's somebody else's band, they might want... Anyway. Right, shall we play out with another track?
Yeah. In fact, I know that we were talking about your Les Paul.
Yeah, 3 single coil.
Do you mind if I borrow your strap?
No, save you getting yours. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Right, so I'll warm up both because I'm sat with an easy reach of them. Just remind me to put them on. Yes, if we can coordinate this.
Yep.
You get a look at the back of Nev's guitar while we're at it.
By a bit of magic, you'll notice we've changed guitars and I'm almost in tune. Well, quick mention about there's a bit of buzz, isn't there?
We are buzzing because we're sat right on top of those transformers. It's because we're in a small room. It's not because these are inherently noisy.
No. The amps themselves are very quiet.
Yeah, they're
It's the
super high
guitars
quality.
that are giving the noise. So, okay, let's do a bit of a rocky
what
stuff.
about that thing?